Okay, so we're trying to figure out our bug here when our taxi collides with an egg instantiation. And if you look, I've printed up the value, the boolean of the result of our taxi colliding with our egg. Now, this shouldn't be true because they should both be in the graveyard, but it turns out since they're both at the same values of the graveyard, this ends up being true, which reinstantiates a vulture at the higher tier at the exact spot of the egg, and it just keeps getting stuck in a loop over instantiating because we're technically still colliding in the graveyard. So if we go to our taxi and we just move our graveyard so that when our taxi graveyard is true, it's actually -40 instead of -20, then we will no longer trigger the collision over and over and over. So that properly sends our egg to the graveyard and instantiates a vulture at the higher tier. Now, right now, the higher tier is only the sprite, but we need it to be the AI for the direction as well. It's good that it can still kill us, and that means we can still kill it. Yep. So that's good. But I just realized that we're not trying to since the taxi can only spawn after the egg is hatched and a jockey exists. So we've actually got this wrong. We're not supposed to instantiate this if it collides with an eggs one. It's if it collides with a jockey one. Jockey with an S one. Because that's our global table of jockeys. Now we need to instantiate the vulture at the jockey's last X. The jockey's last Y. Shifted by... How tall is the jockey? 14 versus our 24, so 10 pixels difference. Minus 10 pixels. Higher than our jockey. But we'll also... We spawn them in the air, so they're the shorter ones anyway. Now we need to advance our tester. We can either stop spawning an egg as our tester, and start spawning a jockey as our tester. So we can do... We take a look at the beginning of our play state here. We spawn a... Where do we do it? Here, we spawn a tester egg, which we will no longer do that. We will spawn a tester jockey. So we'll populate our jockey's table with a couple values. It's really easy. So jockey parentheses is the class for the class instantiation, and we're going to say, hey, give us what the x of what our egg used to be, but give it to me at platform 3's y shifted by your own height, which is 16. So and then it takes an index, which is just 1 because jockey's 1. And then we'll see if that spawns us a jockey. Nope. We need to take it out of the graveyard, so we'll say jockey's 1 dot graveyard gets false so that we can update its X and Y position. Cool. It doesn't have gravity, but it would spawn right above the platform. I don't get why it would be that high. There we go. Okay. So we spawn our jockey's table. We overwrite our first jockey with a jockey I don't get why platform Y. Oh, you know what? We actually did this intentionally. We did the Y shifting inside our parameter declaration, or whatever you want to call it. Sorry, I want to turn notifications off here. I don't think that How do I block these stupid notifications? Oh God, I don't want to do this. Okay, whatever. Now we're failing here upon we do our jockey upon a jockey collision with a taxi right here. We need to no, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we take us out of the graveyard. Okay. So where are we failing exactly? Play state 520. That's not looking good. Yeah, it just fails here somewhere. Yeah. The jockey doesn't really have a last X. Is the thing. Yeah, it does. But we're not doing anything with it. Yeah, we're not doing anything with it. So we need to say this would be if not graveyard. So this is the update logic here. We would say, oh, no, we're doing it right here. Yeah, we're assigning our X to be our last X if we're not self-collected. So, I guess we would have to trigger jockey.collected gets true as well. So if we collide with the jockey, then jockey at index 1 dot collected gets true. It made it one line further to 521 that time. Oh no, it's because I deleted something. Okay, something, it doesn't like something here. Like it doesn't have the jockey's last X just yet. So why don't we, oh, you know what? Oh yeah, instead of, let's just say dot X dot Y. Oh, that might have been giving us some issues. Let's see. I just want to see. Just want to see something. I just want to see it not crash when we collide, you know? Attempt to index a nil value. Oh, this is... I had this spelled wrong. Okay. Okay. What we need to do... Yeah, this should be... You know what? I feel like my eggs last X stuff, well... Yeah. Okay. Let me just see. We stopped crashing upon a collision, but we're not doing anything instead. With the jockey, we need to jockey graveyard us. Which we kind of do here. Let's say... Yeah, after we do that, we need to take our jockey out of the graveyard. Oh, no, we need to move it to the... If we collide with a jockey, then the taxi would disappear, and the taxi would be... That's weird. Yeah, we're not moving... Oh no, yeah, we're moving the taxi to the graveyard right away here. And then we're taking our... Yeah, we don't need to be doing anything with our eggs at this point. So we're instantiating a vulture at the appropriate jockey location. Because it would upgrade into a vulture with a higher tier. We take it out of the graveyard, it's not spawning, we say it's grounded, and we upgrade its tier. But we need to move our jockey to the graveyard. So we need to say, hey, jockey 1, graveyard gets true, because we're trying to move it to the graveyard. And then same if it collides facing the other direction. And we can't just put that here. We can't just put it to the graveyard up here when we do this, because we're doing the exposition, which I guess is why we have the last X and last Y stuff. Let's see if we can get away with that. We'll try to do it once here. Okay, graveyard true. But you're instantiating at the last X, last Y of that jockey. Last X, last Y. Okay, let's try that. Okay, it's still rendering it. Now we're becoming true that jockeys. We still, well, we have it here and here even. Yeah. Oh, here. I'm overriding it here. So, if we collide with the jockey, jockey's graveyard is true. We don't set graveyard to false right here, but we should mark jockeys 1 as collected as well up here. Okay. Let's see if that disappears our jockey. Oh yeah, buddy. It looked like he climbed up on him because the white. Like he looks like he becomes the pilot. Oh, that looks sick. That looks sick. See, I like the spawning not grounded. Okay. That's looking so much more right now. This is where I was hoping we could have gotten yesterday before the episode, but I'm glad we got it now, so. Okay, so that was big. But that is in fact just one tester. We're not running that behavior on all of our taxi objects, just our specific tester objects. So we'll actually wait to do that just yet, because this is a perfect setup for us to test the AI of our bounder here. No, a hunter. So right now, I'm going to tidy up what I've done, get rid of that debugging, make a commit, and then that's a snapshot to go ahead and start testing our hunter AI difference. Now, hunters are worth a little bit more when collected, and they move a little bit faster both on the DX and DY. I think that's the biggest difference. And then they'll hatch into a Shadow Lord egg. So we'll have to test a Shadow Lord egg being collided with upon a Shadow Lord, and then we'll have to make sure that hatches a new instantiation. Oh, there's a pterodactyl. That's awesome. That's really getting there. So, yeah, I guess next thing is to add the different AI for the hunter. For the, Bounder, Hunter, Shadow Lord. White is Hunter, so let's tidy up the code. Let's see, we're no longer doing that stuff. Now we have to spawn. Actually, hold on. I'm thinking we can take the vulture out of the graveyard out here. Because whether or not oh god. So look, this happens twice. Let's just put it twice down here. And we put it once down here. It has to be after the instantiation of the vulture so that we can overwrite it to take it out of the graveyard. So that's why we can't do it up here with this stuff. But we can also do this with vulture spawning. Actually, before we get in too deep, let me just make sure that this works as intended. Taking the vulture. Nice. It would allow updating for vulture. Yep. Okay. And then we can set this as well down here. So not only are we not graveyard, but we're not spawning either. And we're not grounded as well, which I can also take out. And then we have to, we can keep the tier increment as well. Like also increment your tier. But we do have to keep this where we say facing right gets true. We initialize as facing left. So if our text is facing right and collides, that's the only time we need to switch our direction. Yeah, so it'll keep its dy, and then it'll start to inherit whatever the vulture's dy. Well, actually, is dy a required parameter on our vulture instantiation? No, it is not. We just assign it negative, or dx. I was talking about dx. We just assign it in our init as negative, which is fine, I guess. We just have to dictate. Our dx is swapped depending on which way we're facing. Or I think our way of facing depends on our dx is actually what it's doing. So if we're... Yeah, I'm actually not 100% convinced we need that. Because facing right is taken care of by our dx, actually. So we should just be able to instantiate a vulture at the right position. Yeah, I think that's actually okay to omit. Let's test it. We can take out this whole if we're facing right thing, because the way we're facing actually gets automatically updated to agree with our dy, our dx rather. So if we instantiate a vulture here, yeah, we should, let's see if that works. It's going to be hard to test because we can't test the other direction. We can't test the other direction. So maybe what we do is when we spawn, I'm just trying to test the other direction and see if the sprites are working. So if instead of the taxi going left here, we're gonna say, hey taxi 1, your dx is actually gonna get absolute value, so it's gonna be a positive number, which will shift your dx to the right initially. And then we'll see if it collides. Uh, 622 in play state. Yeah, we don't need this. See, it didn't inherit its dx. So we either need to add dx to our vulture instantiation, or we just manually set it. We can add it as a parameter, or we can or what we can do is go back here and do the right here. We can say if we're facing right, then we need to set our vulture's dx to be positive. But we need to do this after we instantiate that vulture. And if the taxi is facing right, yes, and we've collided with that jockey, then swap our dx. Oops. Okay. Now let's see if the going right works, and then we'll make sure going left still works. It's not working. It should be going right upon that collision. Now we should be swapping it there. Shit. Let's take a different approach. We will now take a new parameter in our vulture class. And we don't even assign our index here. We need to do that. So we're going to say our index field gets the index parameter, then also a direction field that gets whatever our direction, and it's going to be either positive or negative. Then when we update, we just need to update our dy, or our dx rather, based on our direction. So we're going to initialize as negative, and then I guess in our update we're going to say we need to update our dx based on the direction parameter. So instead of dx being negative 0.7, it's going to be instead of being negative 0.7, it's going to be direction times negative 0.7. So now, if we pass in the direction as a negative 1 will assume the left direction, and then a negative 1 will assume the right direction, which I should probably swap that, but the way the vultures spawn going to the left in the demo, so that's how I defaulted it, but I can change that. So we need another parameter here. I'm going to say we're going to move it to the right, so negative 1. Now let's see if we move. Well, yeah, let me see, because we put vultures 1. We modified our d by x manually. Where did we do that? God, I don't know. Where did we modify our vultures 1 dx? Where did we do that? We didn't do that. We only did it here. So direction here, but then confused. We need to give our dummy values a dummy direction. So that's what we're missing. If we go to our table population in our place state here, we just need to give a default direction, which will be a positive one, meaning default direction's left at the moment. So now we'll see if we keep the dx, see if it inherits the dx correctly. It does. It does. It just needs to shift. It just needs to shift. Yeah, it needs to shift where it spawns if it's facing that direction. Okay, so I think I'm just trying to change the x of where we spawn depending on the direction we're facing. But I'm thinking the vulture should be spawned at the x of the taxi, not the x of the jockey. That's what I'm thinking. So let's say instead of jockey 1 last x, we're actually doing taxi 1 last x. Let's see that. Last y on 514. Taxi doesn't have a last y. Yeah, taxi doesn't have a last x or y position. So if we give ourselves that real quick, we can say just initializing these at 0. We're going to override them anyway, just giving us these fields. So if we're not graveyard, then update our last x with our current x. Same goes for our last y. Now, if we're graveyard, yeah, okay, so we only modify that value if we're not graveyard. So now let's see if we spawn. We should spawn a vulture exactly where our taxi is as soon as we detect a collision with that jockey. Okay, it looked a little high. The X looked good, but we want just at the taxi's last Y, same way. That should be right. Nice, that's it. Now let's swap our direction. Actually, -1. Defaults left. How do we change which way our tester vulture starts out, which is where we override it at the beginning here? No. actually, yeah. 1 is a -1 here. Now we're changing. We actually were changing all the vultures to positive. Nope. Maybe I'm understanding things wrong. Oh yeah, 1 is a -1. Okay, that's right. So now where are we giving our taxi the positive velocity? We do it here. In the play state, we do. Oh my god, it's so hard to wrap my head around this. Right here. +1 will give us a leftward vulture. But yeah, we're trying to get the taxi initially, which is right here. Taxi initially. Just don't overwrite that dx. Okay, and leftward looks great too. That looks perfect. So we've got vulture instantiation upon a taxi egg collision set. I'm happy with the X and Y and the directions. So that's looking good. I want to clean up some of this stuff that is unneeded because it took a little while to find what the code was going to be. But we chopped away, we chopped out this direction facing stuff. And instead, we assign our direction as a parameter to instantiate upon. So we don't have to, we have to just remember that and control it in the parameter here. But that's so much smaller. Yeah, look at that. So this is all, we can say this is vulture. I guess we would call it taxi to jockey collision detection. And a taxi to a jockey instantiates higher tier vulture as well. Now, we haven't given us the updated AI just yet, but we can see that that's working, and sorry, this is just, I'm just trying to prove that if we're going the other way, it also spawns correctly. Spawns the new vulture. Oh. Okay, no, we got to do two different things. Or you've got to instantiate the vulture. Yeah. Okay, so we've got to do something else. We just need to assign the right instantiation given the direction. So we're almost right. But if we go to our taxi to jockey collision detection, we need to, if our taxi is facing right, then we need to instantiate a facing right one, which would be a -1. And then otherwise we're facing left, so give us the default face. So now if we're going to the right, yeah, did I stop? Yeah, I did take that off. Okay, so let's check left first. We're moving to the left. Okay, that looked right. And then if we move to the right, we should keep moving to the right, which we do. Now I'm trying to see if it looks like it's too soon. Looks fine to me. I mean, it's like fair, you know, it looks like it does collide, so. So I'm taking this off because this is now controlled via this parameter. Actually, it defaults left. Does it not? I think we took out that it defaults left. Because yeah, now we have to pass in direction. So this is actually +1. This is actually +1. That's for the index field. That's for the negative dx. Fuck, and it's still moving right. See, it should default. A +1 should make it move to the left, which it's not. It takes a dx before the index is what's screwing us. So this is actually no. This is confusing. I should have this set up the same way. Yeah. So this, why is that? Negative number is a negative dx, positive number is a positive dx. Yeah, so we're gonna start it off moving to the left, but then, yeah, okay. I was getting that confused with our vulture class, which has the direction before the index, which I should probably change that to be the same. We should do that. Index is the last one. So we'll say direction, index, and then upon all of our vulture instantiations, we need to make sure that index is the last thing. Yeah, we need to do this different. That's index. So this would be direction. Something like that. This is also backwards. If we're facing right, we need to spawn a vulture in our index 1, moving to the right, which is a negative number, which sounds wrong because it is. It didn't make sense to. They all spawn to the left, so I just have default spawning to the left. I don't know. A little confusing, but it works. Let me do one more thing and check if we spawn this going to the right. that we would do the same thing still, or the correct thing. Nice. Okay. So that wasn't too fun because we had to include in our vulture class a separation of parameters. So we just had to go through every instantiation, swap those so that it was consistent with our taxi class, which takes a dx first, then an index. And that's what I should call the vulture one instead of direction. Call it dx, which is direction, but just put in our I guess that's fine. Our dx gets modified by our current dx times negative. That's that starting off facing left that I'm telling you about. We just override it here with a positive one. No. This should be moving left now. It's moving right. A taxi default's moving right. Only a vulture default's moving left. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I should put it. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so we're not doing this negative nonsense anymore. We pass in a dx, that's what its dx gets to be. The 0.7 here is so that we just put in a positive 1 for a positive 0.7 or a negative 1 for a negative 0.7. And then we'll see, we should be going to the right now. So let's get us moving to the left. Test that collision. Nope. Moving to the left. Fuck. This is almost there. We just got it backwards in our taxi to jockey collision here. Okay, our taxi is facing right and we collide with a jockey. Then we need a vulture going right. We would need a vulture going left if we were facing left. That should be it. That's the final piece of the puzzle. So we have a taxi moving left. We'll test the direction of the new vulture on impact. That's correct. We'll move back to a rightward moving taxi, so we can check that. We're looking for that positive dx going to the right upon that collision, and we are still going to the right. And we've refactored the order of our parameters for our vulture to match our logic for our taxi. And then we fixed all the parameters for our dummy table initialization, giving them a positive dx to start out with. Actually, this is where we want the negative. We swap it to negative for when they spawn. We just wanted this field to appropriately represent the direction we're facing, so that's what was a little confusing there. Because at one point we were putting in positive ones to get it to go left, and I was expected to remember that, you know, the poor design if we stayed that route. It just would have been more confusing. So this way, less confusing. Now let's move this back, moving to the left. Okay, so now every vulture should start spawning moving to the left like it was, but we've got that fixed. So going to continue to look around for anything I can kind of clean up. I think the taxi to jockey collision chunk was the majority of our work, though. If not all our work this episode. Yeah, right here. This is what we just did. And it's working. And it's looking clean, and we don't have... We should just kind of put... We can put anything here. We can just put... Okay, I'm happy with that being cleaned up. After I clean up some more. Okay. Holy shit. Yeah, this is going to be a lot of code. Okay. Let us see it again. Just so I test it before I commit. That's looking right. It's looking right. If we take a look at our get diff, it's probably a little wild. We add LastX to our taxi. We changed the graveyard to fix that bug. We added and changed the order of the parameters required for our vulture class. We fixed our DX direction instantiation bug, if you want to call it that. I'm gonna clean that up actually before I push. That's in our main, I think. No, it's in our play state. Where is that? Line. What line is that? If not tables, global object table dummy initialization. Right here. Yeah. I'm gonna take this out. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, basically all we did was fix that bug, reorganize a parameter on our vulture, and then finalize the taxi collision logic on a jockey collision. And I just want to make sure where jockey collected gets true there. So taxi to jockey, nope, taxi to jockey collision, jockey.get collected does happen. Okay. We'll need to add the points for the jockey. Well, no, not there, not there. That's different. Oh yeah, you know what? Jockey is not collected there. Collected is what we use to signify a point increase. But you don't get any points if a taxi gets a jockey, so we don't need to swap collected to true because it's not actually collected, it's more like upgraded. And then we took out that. Yeah, okay. So Nice. Okay, we've set the stage for us to do the AI logic finally for our... This is why it was so hard to get to this update, is because I had to do all the stuff I've been doing in these episodes, which is make a tester, so I can test the creation of an upgraded monster, because that requires the right setup, and it requires the right collision detection and the right instantiation after that, which we now have. So I'm going to get at everything to the staging area, saying fixed vulture instantiation upon taxi : collide with egg. And we refactored some vulture parameters, but that's not really necessary, I guess. So I'm gonna git push it and then call it a day. We're finally there at the heart of the AI update that we're gonna do here. So that should be fun. We'll be able to test the different AIs of the different vultures here. And then we'll make sure we're adding the correct points upon a collection. And then we'll... That's huge. That's huge. Then once we're happy with the AI, then we need to fix our code so that it's not just running only on our testers, but rather every taxi and its corresponding index jockey. That's what we need to do. So AI first. So next episode tomorrow, we'll be doing AI for our hunter and maybe Shadow Lord, depending how far we get along with that. But we're making strides, and then we're soon about to be actually piecing together all the waves. And then we'll basically have the whole game. The one thing that's tricky is the shrinking platform on the waves, because right now we have a ground platform and collidable platform, so we need to fix that, adapt it to a retractable platform method, and then we actually need to do the other last, like the final cherry on top is the lava monster and the fire, right? Because it's got like a lava monster that can grab you and hold you. That's really tough. I might temporarily shelve this at that point, so I can work on another game, and then we can always come back and add that lava thing. I'm just trying to prove to myself I can make a little arcade game, and it's been 140 whatever episodes of this game exclusively. Well, we did a little bit of Game Jam, but I want to start making more mini games for another project. Instead of remaking a game, I want to make my own. So that'll be happening soon. But I'm not going to do that until we've got like wave 1 through 5 or whatever. I think that'll be great. We're almost there. We're finishing the AI. Yeah, we're close. We're close. Thanks for watching. Yeah, see you tomorrow.